Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, rock stars. BNB, Rockstar. There's all tons of stuff. It's all there. So Banana Zone phase two started here, and we're going to get into the acceleration zone of that comes ahead. But you guys have got to learn patience. Global liquidity, what's it doing? Well, global liquidity year on year is not at all-time high. So we're not at the acceleration phase. We've seen global liquidity increasing. It's just ticking down recently. Oh, guess what? The markets have ticked down a bit. Bizarrely, this was the Banana Zone phase one correction, start of phase two. We think it starts doing more of this now, which is the acceleration phase. It won't do this. So we're looking for liquidity to rise to something like 10 to 15% a year, stay there for a while, and that will start really driving assets. So the global M2 chart, here's the 12-week lead. Since July 16th, 2025, we've seen this weird underperformance. And it was like, it's broken. You see, what has happened in the meantime is the Treasury General Account, that is the Fed, the Treasury, have been issuing bonds to top up their general account, which is taking cash out of the system. So they've withdrawn about 500 billion since July the 16th. That has hit risk assets somewhat. And of all the risk assets, the one that's most susceptible to liquidity is crypto. So crypto got that, which has been this choppy. It went up. Alts have been outperforming. Then they came back down again. And it's been just a bit sloppy. Nothing more than that. There's been nothing really adverse going on.
Raoul Pal, co-founder and CEO of Real Vision, who previously focused on altcoins rather than Bitcoin, shared his current expectations for Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. He believes altcoins like XRP will enter a new growth phase with Bitcoin's gradual decline. Predicting a sharp rise in altcoins, the renowned player indicated that they are preparing to break out of the consolidation phase, which he calls the waiting room, and enter a strong bullish period. After examining Ethereum, he stated that Ethereum has broken out of the consolidation phase and entered the growth phase, or fully bullish. The renowned XRP analyst then stated that XRP is no longer waiting. It is breaking out of the consolidation phase and moving toward higher levels. Showing a chart tracing XRP's 10-year price history, Paul explained that XRP typically goes through several long-term correction periods, such as a descending wedge or triangle, before ultimately experiencing a major breakout. Finally, Paul added that Solana would also exit the consolidation phase and that SWI would follow Solana. According to Raoul Pal, just own Solana, SWI, Ethereum, and wait for your money to grow. The real acceleration is about to happen for these top coins. Before we move forward, if you want to stay updated with the latest crypto events and news, you can subscribe to our channel and like this video. Now let's get back to Raoul Pal's view on Solana and the overall crypto market.
Here is the chart of Bitcoin versus NASDAQ since 2022. So Bitcoin's been outperforming NASDAQ. That's its job. That's what it does. This is why we own it. And it does these kind of nice corrective patterns up, corrective pattern up. And what we've done is we're back near this old 2 standard deviation favorite place of ours, where generally Bitcoin outperforms. Now, I've noticed many of you, and I noticed on X, are all like punting tech stocks and saying, well, crypto, it's boring. It's changed. The market's changed. They're all different now. It's not. We've got the 9-13-9 pattern. So that starts to suggest that Bitcoin will outperform technology. Maybe technology corrects a bit. Bitcoin does okay. And then Bitcoin starts outperforming. And I would suggest that alts will outperform.
Paul also indicates that the Layer 1 blockchain, SWI, is preparing for another round of outperformance despite its recent consolidation. Paul shares a chart suggesting that SWI has approached the bottom of a descending channel and is finding support near the $2 level. Stepping back a bit, based on another chart, Paul sees SWI moving inside a large triangle, suggesting a bullish continuation. According to Paul, when Bitcoin surpasses its all-time highs, SWI will outperform again and remain among the top 5 performing cryptocurrencies during this cycle. The investor recently stated that the trend of the global money supply index M2 suggests that Bitcoin could advance approximately 29% from its current level. Paul believes this cryptocurrency cycle is not close to peaking, but is entering a longer and more powerful expansion phase that could continue until 2026, driven by an upward trend in global liquidity linked to government debt dynamics. Julian Battelle and Paul presented a tightly intertwined framework linking demographics, debt, liquidity, and the business cycle to asset returns, arguing that cryptocurrencies and technologies remain the only asset classes structurally capable of overcoming what he calls the hidden devaluation of fiat currencies. The most important macroeconomic variable of all time is the increase in liquidity by governments and central banks around the world to manage debt at a rate of 8% per year. Paul distinguished this ongoing devaluation from measured inflation, cautioning investors to think in terms of floor interest rates, not news. We have a floor interest rate of 11% on all of our investments. If our investments don't reach 11%, we become poorer. They estimated that cryptocurrency user growth would be roughly double that of the internet at a comparable stage, and argued that tokens offer investors the unique opportunity to own the infrastructure of the next web. As for total addressable value, he applied the same logarithmic trend framework to the entire digital asset market, plotting a trajectory from roughly $4 trillion today to a potential $100 trillion by the early 2030s if the market follows its fair value adoption channel, with Bitcoin eventually occupying a gold-like role within the broader digital asset class. Paul stated that the cryptocurrency market is preparing for a breakout, but many segments of the ecosystem remain in what he calls the waiting room. Bitcoin and Ethereum have already set the pace, while other cryptocurrencies are still waiting for their momentum to regain. He indicated that the Total 3 index, which excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, is ready to move out of the waiting room, meaning the broader altcoin market could be the next move. You have to learn to be patient. The path is clear, but never expect absolute perfection. It's the setup that matters, he wrote. Paul shared a new chart of Ethereum and dubbed its current phase full port. This chart shows Ethereum breaking out of a long consolidation that has been ongoing since 2021, with higher lows gradually reaching resistance. Regarding Solana, Paul stated that it was the next to move out of the waiting room. The chart shows Solana reaching a key resistance level after a long period of accumulation. Regarding XRP, Paul stated that it was being completely transitioned. Without elaborating, this phrase could mean that the XRP ecosystem is entering its next phase of growth. SUI is on hold and will follow Solana. Dogecoin also remains on hold and will only fully port when other altcoins begin trading. Paul compared the current situation to the cryptocurrency boom of 2017, clarifying that markets never repeat themselves perfectly. Bitcoin began trading around $1,044 in early 2017 before rising to around $2,187 on May 31st. The leading digital asset closed the year at $14,156, a massive 1,255% increase from its beginning of the year price. While Paul predicts the same move, he acknowledges that the weaker US dollar could signal a slowdown in the cryptocurrency cycle, meaning it will take time to reach its peak. Bitcoin started 2020 at $7,174, but fell 27% in March to $5,227. The asset then rallied 129% to $11,990 in August before surging 304% to close the year at $28,993.